Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to Astrology with Georgie. In this video we are going to be discussing the upcoming full moon in the sign of Sagittarius, which is happening on the 11th of June. So not too much longer to go now, and as always with full moons you may start to see things relevant to the themes of the Sagittarius section in your chart. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget that I do readings. If you would like your personal chart read, then please drop me an email. My information is linked on my page. And if you do get value from this, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe so you don't miss any future content from me. Drop a comment. Let's get the algorithm going. I would really appreciate any comments and any likes on this video. If you just heard a weird noise, it's very windy here in the UK at the moment. I don't know where you guys are listening from, but we're having like loads of windy days. It's warm, but it's windy. So, you know, having the door open, it's like constantly blowing around. So if you hear any weird noises, then it's my door. So apologies for that. Now, this full moon is an interesting one because it's a really mixed bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain kind of the general themes of the full moon, as I always do. Please make sure you listen to this intro if you haven't skipped forward already, because it's going to give you details around the aspects of the full moon before we move into the signs. And then of course you can skip to your sign. Always listen for your rising sign. If you're not listening for your rising sign, maybe you're new here, listen for your rising sign. Horoscopes are based on the rising sign. It's going to be the most accurate. Then you can listen for your sun, which will also be accurate, and your moon may play a part as well. So listen to all three, but just know when you're reading your horoscopes, read for your rising sign. If you're, you know, this is irrelevant of this YouTube video right now. If you're reading your horoscope on the internet, on a newspaper, you know, say you're an Aries, okay, fine, you can read for an Aries, but it's going to be more relevant and more accurate to you if you read for your rising sign. So if you know that you are a Pisces rising or a Gemini rising, go and read Pisces or Gemini as well. Do not forget to do that. I tell this to my friends all the time, and they're not, if people that aren't massively into astrology, they kind of like, oh, what's my rising sign again? I'm like, how are you not remembering this? Okay, so I digress. Now, full moon in Sagittarius, this is happening at 20 degrees, which is a Scorpio degree. So we can think about kind of the general themes of Scorpio as well as the themes of Sagittarius. So Scorpio energy is about transformation, alchemy, going through a transformational process, rising from the ashes in some way. It also speaks towards kind of magic and everything kind of metaphysical in life. Obviously, it links to psychology as well. So those themes may be relevant for you in some way. Now, Sagittarius is all about wisdom, higher learning, expanding your mind. It is your faith, your beliefs. It's also the sign of travel and culture and freedom and adventure. So Sagittarius, and actually on this kind of week leading up to the full moon, you may feel like you just want to be free. You want to do your own thing. You don't want to stick to a schedule. You want to kind of play it by ear. You might feel more adventurous. You might feel more outgoing. You may feel called to travel. Some of you may physically be traveling. Some of you may feel called towards learning something new. Sagittarius is all about, like I said, wisdom, and it's expanding your mind on a higher level. It's really broadening your horizons. Whereas Gemini is about kind of collecting lots of information and gossipy stuff. We are in Gemini season, and that's where the sun is. But Sagittarius is like, okay, but what's the bigger picture here? What's the deeper aspect of this? You know, what is the broader concept of the information that I'm taking on? So it's all about expanding our mind and just seeing the bigger picture, basically. Now, and I'm going to talk about this in another video. My favorite thing about this full moon is that the ruler Jupiter has, by this point, just moved into Cancer, my favorite transit of the year. And like I said, I will do a separate video on Jupiter moving into Cancer, so stay tuned for that. But Jupiter moves into Cancer late on the 9th of June. So the full moon is in Sagittarius, so it's ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter has just moved into the sign of its exaltation. So this brings Sagittarius full moons in general are a bit more positive because they are Jupiter ruled, and Jupiter is our planet of abundance. It's our planet of luck, prosperity, expansion, wisdom. It's connected to morals, beliefs, the law. it is the most positive positive planet of the zodiac. So generally, Sagittarius full moons have that kind of bit more of a positive connection to them. But because Jupiter is in Cancer, this adds an extra layer of positivity because the ruler, Jupiter, is in its exaltation, it's lifted up, it can perform at its best. So this is what we want to see. You know, we want to see this from all full, new and full moons because it's going to give it a strength. It's going to give it whatever this, because the full moon is a culmination, so it can be a change in your life, it can be something ending, something coming to light. For some people it will just be something happens, it could be something really small, it can be something really big and relevant if you have planets around the 20-degree mark, especially if you have planets in the mutable signs. So that's Pisces, Gemini, Virgo and Sagittarius, anything around 20 degrees, so 19, 20, 21, maybe 18 and 22 of the mutable signs. You'll feel this a bit more strongly in a more relevant way to yourself personally. But even so, even if you don't have that, something will be happening in the Sagittarius section of your chart. And like I said, sometimes it can be something small. You have to pay attention. You do have to pay attention because it can be a conversation you have with someone. It can be that you're going on a trip to the beach. You know, it's something, sometimes it can be things that you wouldn't necessarily consider really relevant, but it's just part of your kind of monthly process of going through a new moon and then a full moon. So full moons, we can tend to be busier. We can tend to feel more sociable, like we want to go out more. We have a bit more energy as we're building to the full moon. Now, with Jupiter into Cancer, Jupiter moving into Cancer is expanding our ability to tap into our emotions. It's expanding our ability to use our intuition, to really be guided by our intuition rather than our intellect. It's going to link in themes around what you're nurturing. Cancer is the sign of nurturing. So yes, there can be themes to do with family, with your home, but it's all about what you're nurturing. And that is going to look differently for everyone. But when you think about the term nurture, it's looking after something, it's tending to something, whether that be tending to yourself, tending to your own emotions, tending to somebody else, tending to a job, tending to a garden, tending to something. We're being encouraged and pushed more towards positive experiences around tending to something with Jupiter moving into Cancer. The full moon in Sagittarius is, you may, I'm going to repeat myself. I won't repeat myself. I've mentioned the Sagittarius themes, but it's good. You're going to notice something. Something's going to come to light. Sometimes it can be an aha moment. So something will come up under the full moon. The sun is illuminating your emotions. So how you feel about something is going to be more prominent. Things that have maybe lie dormant under a full moon just come to the surface. That's the whole point of a full moon. Now, this full moon also does have some tricky aspects because, number one, it is squaring the North and South Node. So, North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. We are all collectively being pulled towards Pisces themes of having faith, of being more spiritual, of going with the flow, of trusting in the divine and releasing the need for things to be perfect, releasing the idea of control and having to have everything in order. And you're being called towards faith in some way with the North Node in Pisces. Now, this full moon squaring that, there can be something that comes to light that has an effect on where you're heading, or as you're moving towards your destiny, North Node in Pisces, there's a challenge or there's something that is not going as smoothly as you hoped it would or wanted it to. Squares can be dynamic, so it can just be that you need to put more effort in, you have to do something, you're the one that has to put some action in. But in mutable signs are changeable, so it can just be that there's a change. Something changes around the place that you were heading or the goal that you're working towards or whatever you're working towards in the Pisces section of your chart. There's a change or you're having to make an adjustment. Now, Jupiter that rules this full moon is also squaring Saturn and Neptune. So as soon as Jupiter moves into Cancer, it's going to square Saturn and Neptune. So although Jupiter in Cancer is going to be a positive transit, initially there's some challenge. Again, there's a restriction, there's a delay. So this full moon can see you having an idea about something, because Jupiter is conjunct Mercury. So Mercury is our mind, it's our communication, it's how we think. So the ruler of this full moon conjunct Mercury can be like, okay, I'm having an important conversation, I'm having an important meeting, I'm signing an important contract, I'm traveling somewhere important. Some information is coming to light, but it's revealing a challenge or an obstacle, or it's not going quite as smoothly as we wanted. So there's an element of positivity, but there's also a case of, okay, but we've got to do this and we've got to do this. And that's coming from the squares. Square to Neptune is like, are you seeing things clearly? Are you moving towards your dreams, or what adjustments do you need to make? Square to Saturn is an obstacle. It's something can occur, but you're not going to get there as quickly as you wanted, or you need to fulfill some sort of responsibility. Obviously, this is going to look different for everyone. Now, the full moon is actually trining Mars, 6 degrees away, but trining Mars. So actually, you know, this is encouraging us. It's giving us energy. It's giving us oomph. Mars and Leo is about our independence, our creativity, our leadership. So it can be, you know, something to do with something that you are working on or something you're building on. You're being encouraged from Mars, and you're having enough energy here to go after what it is that you want. This will look different for every sign, and just know that Mars will rule the Aries section in your chart, as well as the Scorpio section in your chart, so that can tie in themes of that. That's giving you a positive aspect towards this full moon. So it really is a mixed bag. You'll have to let me know in the comments, guys, what happens. You know, save this video so you can come back and let me know what happens under this full moon in Sagittarius. But generally positive, but with a few challenges, is my kind of general overview. Now, I'm going to read you the tarot card for the third decan of Sagittarius, because that is connected to the 10 of Fire, or the 10 of Wands tarot card. Now, this is all about, if you see this picture here, this lady, she's got loads of things on the go. She's juggling fire. And this kind of symbolizes just having too much on. You've overcommitted to something. And that can be what these squares are. You're realizing under this full moon, for some of you, maybe you've overcommitted, maybe you have too much going on. And you're going to have to work through some challenges to kind of get out of this madness. I'm going to read you the positive affirmation associated with the 10 of Fire. It says, burning away, releasing the excess, endings clear way for beginnings. I think this is perfect for a full moon, because it's all about letting things go that actually aren't working for you. So if you are juggling a lot of things that aren't aligned with you, maybe they will fall away under this full moon in a more positive way because of the Jupiter aspect. I may be overcommitted and have taken on too many burdens. In this moment, I do the work of decluttering my life. All that I release will take new form and serve the greater whole, but I no longer need to hold on to it simply because it once seemed to have value for me. I thank it for what it did for me, but say goodbye to the emotions, relationships, and situations that I realise do not belong in my life anymore. So for a lot of you, there's going to be a clearing out, the ending of something, a fresh start, Jupiter moving into Cancer, tending to how you feel. But it's not going to feel easy with the square to Saturn and Neptune. So we're going to move into the signs now. Remember to listen for your rising sign and then your sun and your moon. Drop me a comment if you resonate with your signs. And don't forget that I do readings. So you can always drop me an email if you would like a reading. I'm also on Substack, guys. So if you have Substack, that is linked on my page as well. We're going to start from Aries and we're going to move around to Pisces, just because that is the natural zodiacal order. Nothing personal. Okay, Aries, how are you guys? Are you feeling Saturn in your sign yet? Are you feeling the shift of Saturn into your sign? I would like to know how this is going for you guys, because I know a couple of Aries that this week have had a bit of a crisis, I would say. And I'm sure that's not happening for all of you, but I just found it interesting that, you know, Saturn's just moved into Aries, and there's a couple of people I know with Aries placements that are going through it. So do let me know, what's happening with Aries. Sorry, with Saturn now that's in Aries. Now, this full moon is actually happening in a positive section of your chart. You'll be pleased to know it's happening in your 9th house. This is a sign that is trining you. Fire signs trine you, so they're a bit more friendly. 9th house is a fun house. It's the house of adventure. It's the house of travel. It is the house of wisdom, higher learning, higher education, any kind of learning that you're doing, whether it's reading, studying, you're doing a course, you're doing a uni course, any kind of higher education comes under the ninth house. But the ninth house is also teaching and broadcasting. So for example, like what I'm doing now, broadcasting on YouTube, that stuff can show up in the ninth house, as well as the 11th. The 11th is the internet, but the ninth house is broadcasting. You're sharing your knowledge. Sometimes this can show up as like publishing something. So whether you're into writing, you know, maybe if you work in, you know, media or something, or writing or journalism or something, a lot of that would show up in the ninth house. The ninth house is also our teachers, our gurus, and legal matters. So something can come to light here. Now, in order to give us a bit more information, we have to look at, okay, so one of those themes will be relevant, but where's Jupiter? It's just moved into the 4th house. The ninth house is also our beliefs, by the way. It's our beliefs, it's our faith, it's our spirituality, our religion. Whatever you believe in comes under the ninth house. So having a full moon here with the ruler just moving into your 4th house, there can be a realization around something to do with your beliefs about your home, your beliefs about your family, your beliefs about your inner emotional world. What you thought to be true may be changing. There can be a challenge. With Jupiter squaring Saturn, your first, your beliefs are changing. Your view on the world could be changing. The 4th house is our inner emotions as well. So it's not always physical in the 4th. It can be what's going on inside. So it's the house of privacy. But there can be a realization about how you're viewing the world can be changing with this 10th square to Saturn. And the square to the North Node in the 12th house as well. You know, you guys are being encouraged towards healing something, reflecting on something, resting. So that's why I wonder whether this is more about like your beliefs, how you're, you know, for example, say you broke up with your partner. Obviously your beliefs are going to completely change. You might have actually a crisis of faith and think, am I ever going to meet somebody new? Is this ever going to work out for me? And that can be what the realization is with the square to Saturn and Neptune. You're being asked to see things clearly. You're being asked to take some responsibility for who you are. Saturn now in your 1st house and your identity. Now, if it's not about your beliefs, it could be that you're traveling. You could be traveling somewhere with a family member. You could be having conversations about your living situation, about your home situation. You could be signing paperwork or legal matters regarding a home situation. It can be that you are, say you've bought a house and now you're signing a legal document. For some of you, it can literally be that you're moving and you're signing something. Jupiter conjunct Mercury is about signing paperwork or having a conversation or, you know, meeting with somebody. It's about information connected to legal matters as possible or connected to the law, but there's a challenge to overcome. It could be that you are you're studying something at home, you're working from home more on a writing or a publication, you're publishing things but you're doing it from your home. You are going back to school again, maybe studying from home. Maybe you're learning something about your inner world, about your emotions, because there's a lot of Jupiter moving into Cancer is activating our intuition and it's activating our emotions and asking us to be in tune more with what we truly need and how we're going to nurture ourselves. So again, it's going back to that piece of how are you expanding your mind around what you need in order to nurture yourself, Aries, in order to nurture your home environment. It can be your beliefs are changing about your home, your beliefs, you know, there's a link here between your home, your inner world, your family members and what you believe in or what you're learning about or travel. So yeah, let me know what you think this is. There can be general themes around ninth house coming up over the course of this week, and it can actually be that you maybe you're studying astrology in order to understand yourself better. Maybe you are speaking to a teacher or a guru or somebody that's going to help you nurture yourself better in some way. So let me know. You guys get the, oh wow, okay, you get the Hanged Man, I love these cards, they're so beautiful. Okay, so let's just read the positive affirmation for this, and then we'll see how that links to the full moon. Okay, so this is about surrender. Sacrifice and surrender are necessary at times like this. Nothing in life is free, nor does anything happen according to my timetable. When this card appears, I'm reminded that a delay is in my best interests, that until all the elements are in place, I'm meant to surrender to the greater will, for the highest good of all. Time for me to let go of any attachment to how I thought things had to be. I am called to surrender and wait to see how things play out. So again, it really is linking back to that having faith. And with the square to Saturn, your first, you know, maybe you are learning that you can't rush into something. You can't get your own way in your brash Aries way that you do. You're learning patience with Saturn in the first house. And there can be some confusion with Neptune there too. But you have to trust that everything is working out. And like it says in that card, not always to your timetable. So I think that's really interesting. Let me know, Aries, if that resonates for you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Taurus, Sun, Moon and Rising. So you are experiencing this full moon in Sagittarius in your 8th house. So this can be something linked towards your own personal transformation and your mental health in some way, because the 8th house is our psychology. Sagittarius is our wisdom and higher knowledge and higher learning. So it could be that you are doing something related to your mental health. You could be, because the ruler of this, Jupiter, is in your 3rd house with Mercury. You could be working on your mindset. You could be setting something up in your community around your own transformation, around coaching, around maybe you're helping others with their mental health. Maybe you're coaching somebody. Maybe you are focusing on your psychology and having discussions about your psychology. It could be that you're meeting up with a group, or you're connecting with somebody or others in order to nurture your mindset in some way. You're trying to see the bigger picture. Maybe you're going through your own transformation in some way. The 8th house is connected to death and rebirth. So it is a process of dragging things up from the bottom. So these things can be our fears, our deep psychological fears. They could be secrets that are coming up. You're talking about secrets. You're talking about what is going on inside of you. The 8th house can be very healing. So it can be a time where we're releasing and we're letting go of things that no longer serve us. Things that are no longer healthy for us. The 8th house is magic. It is occult. It is tarot. It can be linked to astrology. It's everything divination and metaphysical. So it's connected to the other side, psychics. It could be that you're visiting a psychic. That could definitely be a manifestation of this with Jupiter conjunct Mercury. It's like you're going on a trip. You could be going on a trip. You could be going on like, I don't want to say a retreat. I feel like that's more 12th house, but the 8th house does deal with magic. So you could be going to an event associated with alchemizing, transforming in some way. Having conversations about this, having conversations about the deeper aspects of life. Now, there are squares to Saturn in your 12th house. There is an element of having to maybe work on your mental health, or having to overcome something. If you're doing something within the neighborhood, or you're doing something within a group, having to overcome some challenges with that. The 8th house, if it's none of the things I've just mentioned, the 8th house is other people's money. So it can be a realization about your finances. Maybe you're having to have a conversation about joint finances, a conversation about money that people owe you that can feel uncomfortable. Putting your prices up for, if you rent out your room, maybe putting your prices up and having to have an awkward conversation with somebody that you live with. It is in the sign of Cancer. Maybe you're having to borrow some money from a partner, or just you're having conversations with a partner about money. The 8th house is it could be that you're paying off debts, you're clearing up joint finances or investments, or working with your taxes and things like that can be relevant with the 8th house. Just anything to do with joint money or money that people owe you. Now, Jupiter is obviously in Cancer, it's positive, but in the 3rd house with Mercury, it's like you're organizing something, or you're speaking to somebody, or maybe there's an opportunity to invest, or there's an opportunity to to collaborate financially is possible. Or it could be that you're borrowing money to buy a car. You're borrowing money to fix your car. Now that Jupiter's moving in your third house, updating your car is definitely possible. And so this can be maybe an activation of that. But with the square to Saturn, it's like maybe you're having to do it rather than you're choosing to do it. Is possible. Now, the 8th house is also, you know, our own. It's anything to do with crisis. It can actually be very sensitive. So this full moon for you guys, if you're feeling kind of a bit off, a bit like intense, that's because the 8th house is very, very deep. So we can feel very emotional under this, and it's kind of trying to purge. Oh my gosh. Trying to purge something that's going on within your psyche. You guys get the King of Water. This can be a person. It can be somebody that's helping you financially. So it could be like a Pisces, a Scorpio, or a Cancer, someone that is helping you out financially. Let me find the positive affirmation for the King of Water. Oh, if I can find the page. Okay. Generous, diplomatic, fair, gentle, a good listener, non-judgmental, peacemaker and mediator. I honour and respect all beings, including myself, and I see that the commodities we share and the spirit that is in all of us. I listen to other voices and blend them with my own wisdom before settling on an opinion, making a decision or taking an action. I gently and lovingly lead others away from fear and divisiveness and into harmonious collaboration. So it can be, like I said, it's like that coach. Maybe you're helping other people with something at this time to do with their mental health, to do with their wisdom, or there's like a collaboration here with you and another person, or you and some people, especially with the aspects to the third house. So it's like you're working with somebody or helping people in some way. So let me know, Taurus, if that resonates, and I will see you in the next video. Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising. The full moon is happening in your opposite sign. So this is very relevant for you because this is your angular house. House 7 is an angular house. And so it just makes it a bit more relevant, a bit more strong. Now, a full moon in the 7th house is about other people in your lives. Okay, so it's like you versus another person, or it's highlighting something. So the 7th house is any one-on-one relationships that we have, all of our one-on-one relationships. So yes, it could be your romantic partner. It can be something to do with a partner. It can be something to do with a business partner. It can be a best friend, a parent, just anyone you have that connection with, whether it's a therapist, an astrologer, a doctor. All of those connections come up in the 7th house. So a full moon here is highlighting something. So it can be that you are having an important conversation with a partner. You are traveling somewhere with a partner. You are... because Jupiter that rules this is in your 2nd house. So maybe you are discussing finances, or your partner's discussing finances with you. An important conversation going on. Maybe you're trying to organize your finances, or maybe you're trying to work out whether you can afford something that you're working towards, but you're not sure you can afford it with the square to Saturn in your 11th. And square to Neptune, are you seeing your finances clearly, or are you thinking, oh yeah, I'm sure we can afford that when actually we can't? So there's just, and Sagittarius can be overly optimistic. So maybe there's a piece of you actually being overly optimistic about your money. But at the same time, Jupiter's in your 2nd house, your money may start to improve. So actually it could be that you're having a conversation with a partner or with somebody, about your money, about your earnings. There's a relevant conversation. So travel could be possible. It could be that you're signing an important contract, maybe to do with the home, or it's squaring the North Node in your 10th. So there can be an element of who you're working with, or a new job or something. And perhaps that's what the connection to the 2nd house is. You're starting a new job and you're signing your contract, or you're deciding to work with somebody, because the 7th house is business partnerships. It can be that you're deciding to work with somebody. You're just dealing with other people. The 7th house is other people, so you're dealing with other people in some way, or something could be happening in a partner's life. Now remember, there's both positive and challenging aspects to this full moon. So there can be a challenge, but really it's going to be showing up in other people's lives. Sometimes it could be something simple, like you and your partner are going on a trip, or you're just having a conversation, and it's relevant kind of under the full moon. You guys get the 6 of fire. So maybe you are moving towards something new, like you're working on something new or a project. So 6 of fire. Let's read. So stepping into the limelight, being an enlightened influencer. So I generously model my transformation so that others might be inspired. I put my light atop a hill so it can shine forth, helping others to find their way. I remain aware of shadows and people who have trouble basking in the warm light of higher awareness. I bless them, but I do not dim my own beacon. It's a time to renew my trust that I am contributing to the highest good of all in my own unique way. Okay, so again, it is that aspect of other people, working with other people, but it's almost like the sun is in your sign. So you are stepping into the limelight, and actually maybe you're learning to not let other people dim your light as you move towards your goals. But something is kind of brewing there for you, Gemini. So you'll have to let me know in the comments if that resonates, what's happening, what's going on, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. So you are experiencing the full moon in Sagittarius in your 6th house. This is your house of health, work, routines, schedules, ill health, physical health, self-care, all of your routines associated kind of with your day-to-day, whether it's, your working schedules, your fitness schedules, your mindset schedules, whatever you're doing daily shows up in the 6th house. It's also connected to your pets. So a full moon here is interesting because now Jupiter that rules this has just moved into your sign. So there can be a new opportunity coming here for you to do with your work. And it could be that you're having a conversation with somebody. Maybe somebody's got an idea. Maybe you're traveling somewhere for work, or there's a new opportunity that is affecting your work. So quite literally, it could be a new job, but with the square to Saturn in your 10th house, that does bring some sort of challenge here. Maybe you're just having a conversation about a job, but you're not quite sure where you're headed work-wise. Saturn and Neptune in the 10th. It can be that you're traveling somewhere for work. There's a new opportunity coming to you that's going to affect your schedules. Maybe you are teaching. You're sharing your wisdom, and that's becoming part of your schedule in some way. Your schedules are changing. A full moon in the 6th is like your schedules are changing, or you're really busy. You could be busy with sharing your wisdom, busy with nurturing yourself, busy with traveling somewhere. There's like a busyness between your daily activities, your daily routines and schedules, and new opportunities or conversation, and this is going to change in some way. It could be a new opportunity for a pet. You could go on a trip and buy a dog. That can definitely show up. But the challenge to Saturn in your 10th, it's like you're not sure how you're going to get there, or there's a delay in getting there. Now, the 6th house is also your health. So it can be you're realizing something about your health, or you're getting some news about, like if you've had to go to the doctors and you're waiting on some news could come, and that news is going to bring a new opportunity, or it's going to be, there's an element of positivity, or there's an element of this news that's going to affect your body. But the square to Saturn and Neptune is maybe you get some news, but you still don't quite know where you can move forward, or there's going to be a delay, or it's going to affect how you're seen. It's going to affect your image, your public image. Or there's just enough, with Saturn and Neptune in your 10th, this is how you're seen, and this is what you're working towards. This is your legacy, what you're building. So with Jupiter squaring this, it's like a call towards, do you still want that? Do you still want that goal? Do you still want to be working towards that? And the square is like, okay, we're going to give you a bit more of a challenge. We're going to really test you and see if you still want it. So there can be that element of it as well. So health, work, routines, topics around these, conversations, information, and it's all connected to you and your physical body, and maybe new opportunities. So it can be quite exciting. It can be quite exciting. But I'm curious to know how this is going to play out for you guys. You'll have to let me know. You guys get the 8 of Fire. Okay, this is... I always think of Scorpio when I see that card. I think because... I don't know... Let me just read the positive affirmation. I always think when I see that card, I always see Scorpio when I think of the number 8. And remember we said this is 20 degrees is a Scorpio degree. So gathering, 8 of Fire is gathering momentum, celebrating swift changes, travel, transformation. Obviously, the 8 is because of the 8th house, and I just think of Scorpio. So it is about transformation. It also says travel, so opportunities to travel for some of you can definitely be possible. So momentum is building as the power of spirit serves to power this transformation. I am traveling to new territories, so it can be symbolic traveling, and I am eager to experience all that these lands have to offer. I have arrived at my destination, and now the adventure of discovery is energizing me. So something is building here, guys. Changes. So I feel like you're moving forward. There's a forward movement here, and you're not arrived at the destination because of the squares, but you're definitely moving forward in something. So let me know how this is playing out for you. I'm intrigued, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. You are experiencing this full moon in Sagittarius in your 5th house. This is the house that trines you. Fire signs trine you, so this is a friendly energy. A full moon in the 5th house is like fun. It's the fun house. It's your self-expression. It's your hobbies. It's your love life. It is how you how you are able to express yourself. Now remember, this is about freedom and wisdom and kind of going on an adventure. So for some of you, it can be that you are literally wanting to just break free. You're wanting to go and have fun. So you're feeling called towards having fun, but with Jupiter moving into the 12th, maybe you feel blocked here in some way. You feel like it might be that you feel like you can't express yourself, or you're realizing something about how you have fun. You're realizing something about how you express yourself, and you're having to heal something around that. It could also be that you are, to have fun, you are going to a place of solitude and retreat. So you're going to a spiritualist church, you're going to a meditation class, you're going to a yoga class, and that is how you are having fun under this full moon. The 5th house is creativity. You could be working on something creative behind the scenes. Something to do with your business could be building behind the scenes. There can be a crisis of faith, because Jupiter rules our beliefs. There can be a crisis of faith when it changes signs. With the square to Saturn in your 9th house, there can be a crisis of faith. You know, how am I ever going to have fun again? Or I can't go out, or I can't do this. For some of you, for some reason. Not all of you. For some of you, it's just going to be that you're going to, there's a new hobby, and you're going to work on your spiritual health. You're starting Reiki. You're going to a sound meditation healing in order to nurture your body. Jupiter in Cancer in the 12th. You're nurturing your body. But something is more behind the scenes. Now, it could be that there's some sort of new romance behind the scenes, or you're healing something about a relationship. 5th house is relationships. Sagittarius full moons are endings. Some of you, there can be an ending to a relationship, and you're going to have a year now of Jupiter in your 12th house of healing something, letting something go, and nurturing yourself. The conjunction to Mercury does suggest some sort of conversation or trip. Again, it can be a trip to one of the themes I mentioned to do with the hobbies, or it can be a conversation about a partner, or a conversation with a new partner, maybe something secretive, blossoming, secret relationship, secret love affair possible. Square to Saturn, should I really be doing this? Is this good for me? Again, it's that crisis of faith possible. Could be traveling to a faraway place. The 12th house is faraway places. So if it's not a place of solitude you're traveling to under this, like a hospital or a clinic, or you're hiding away at home, you're healing something at home, you can actually be traveling somewhere far away in order to heal something, or And there can be a challenge with Saturn in your 9th house of travel now, actually. There can be you're wanting to travel away, you're wanting to go away, but maybe you can't. That can also come up. 5th house is our creativity as well. Maybe you're creating something behind the scenes. Maybe you're creating a baby behind the scenes. 5th house. A secret pregnancy possible with now the Jupiter with Jupiter in the 12th house ruling this. This is the 5th house of children. This is the 12th house of secrets, of hidden things that we can't see. So baby could be blossoming behind the scenes, or being made in a clinic with Mercury here. You know, IVF stuff can definitely come up. I think that's kind of all I want to say. And if you already have children, actually, this is maybe your child. Maybe your child is needing to spend more time at home. Maybe they are having to have a hospital appointment or something. Maybe they are healing something. Maybe they are going through something kind of emotionally. That's also possible. But the themes here are hobbies, fun, self-expression, love, and children. So topics around those coming up. So potential, but also potential for delay or having to work through something. So Leo, you guys get the Fool card. So there's a new beginning here. There's a new beginning here for a lot of you. And it could be a secret relationship. It could be a baby. It could be a fresh start in something. But this is about going after, just going for it, going after, starting something. You have a new beginning, a new journey. There's a journey of something here for you. Maybe it's a journey of healing. Maybe it's a journey of nurturing. But there's a journey here starting for some of you. The Fool card, enthusiasm. I know that a spiritual approach rarely appears logical and sometimes even seems impractical. However, when this card appears, I can take a risk and trust that with faith, anything is possible. The invisible realms will reveal each step along the way. I am meant to experience this regardless of where I travel. This is a time when I'm learning that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. So I hope that resonates, Leo. Let me know if it does. Let me know what's going on for you, and I will see you guys in the next video. I was going to say Mercury, Virgo, Sun, Moon and Rising. You're ruled by Mercury. So you guys are experiencing this full moon in Sagittarius in your 4th house. This is a sign that squares you. It's an angular house, so this full moon is more relevant for you guys than some of the others. The 4th house is a very sensitive part of your chart. Emotions can come to the surface here, Virgo. You can feel emotional. You can feel themes from the past coming up. You might have a desire for freedom within the home. You might have a desire to do something adventurous or just kind of something different. Now, the 4th house is connected to, yes, it's our emotions, our inner world, but it's our family, our home, our lineage, our ancestry. Family members show up here. Themes, any kind of family topics show up in the 4th house. So something occurring here in one of these topics for you, but it's going to tie in your goals or your friends. So it can be you're having a realization about your goals for the future. Maybe you are having a conversation about moving towards a goal, and it could be, you know, towards a goal around starting a family, towards a goal around moving house, because we're in the sign of the Cancer now, which is about the home and the family. So your goals, because the 11th house is our goals and our aspirations and how we're moving forward and thinking forward. So you can be having a realization here about your future to do with your home. So, you know, can I move house? Am I able to move house? Am I able to start a family? Am I able to have a baby? Am I able to move in with my partner? Are we able to do this renovation? Anything to do with your home and your family, there's a realization here. There can be a conversation, there can be a trip that you can be taking on information with Jupiter conjunct Mercury. You can be having some important information, and actually you're using your intuition to decide what you want, and you're using your intuition, or you're learning to tap into your intuition when it comes to your goals. But with the square to Saturn and Neptune in your 8th, it does suggest some form of transformation going on here. Maybe you have to address topics around your mental health, topics around how you are, topics around your psychology. So in order to move towards your goals, there's a delay, or you can't afford it, or you're having to borrow some money, or something like that can be happening, or you're going through some sort of crisis, or you're having to go through just this transformation in order to get towards your goals. And under this full moon, you're realizing how you're moving forward, how you're alchemizing, how things are shifting. So there's positivity, but there's also, okay, but how are we moving forward? So there's a bit of both here. And obviously the full moon is squaring the south node in your first house and the north node in your seventh house. So it's like, can be affecting your relationships, or it can be affecting your identity in some way. The 11th house is also our friends. Okay, so if this isn't about your goals, this is about groups, organizations, friendships. So maybe you are inviting a friend over to stay, or you're going to stay at a friend's house, or you are having a conversation with your friends about memories of the past. You know, maybe you're talking about your dad, or you're talking about your mum who passed away, and you're having this social connection around topics of the past or your ancestry. Maybe you're working towards building a family tree, that kind of thing. But there's topics of friendships, conversations, but it's to do with your family and your home. It can be like old school friends, so school friends from the past can come up, or you can bump into them, that kind of stuff. This is also the house of organizations and groups. So maybe you're realizing how the groups you're a part of, or the friends that you're a part of, make you feel. Because Jupiter moving into Cancer, it's like you're nurturing your friendship groups. But because the full moon is in your fourth house of how you feel, there's a connection with, okay, how do these people make me feel? And those kind of themes can come up. How you nurturing yourself, but how are you being nurtured, or really enjoying the groups that you are a part of, or any organizations that you work in. So we're going to pull a tarot card for Virgo. Okay, you guys get the 5 of Fire. There's so many fire cards coming out. I mean, it is a Sagittarius full moon, but we're getting all the fire cards. Okay, 5 of Fire. Okay, a new creative phase, collaboration, pleasure, and harmony in relationships. Dancers have partners, singers have musicians. Oh no, I'm reading the wrong one. I'm so sorry. That was number 4. Ignore that. We're going to number 5, 5 of Fire. Creative brainstorming, unity in diversity, and honouring differences. I have the freedom to explore the ideas that seem the most far-fetched. What seems crazy today proves tomorrow to be brilliant. Like a child willing to stretch her imagination when a new playmate comes into the garden, I open to new people and new ideas. Intrigued by what is novel and unfamiliar, this is a time for what is counterintuitive, so for appreciating the ideas from out in left field and what they might offer. Okay, so what seems crazy today proves to be brilliant. So it can be, again, the 11th house is how we're thinking forward. So thinking differently, thinking outside the box when it comes to your family and your goals. That can be relevant. Trying something new, trying something different, and not being afraid to do so. So let me know, Virgo, if that resonates, how it resonates, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So you are experiencing the full moon of Sagittarius in your 3rd house. So this is a house associated with your mind, your thinking, what you're learning, how you're communicating and connecting. So it's all things to do with social media, texting, emails, your neighborhood, your local neighborhood, your travel. So this is your car, how you get to work, your local errands. So you when you bump into the person that you know in the shop, when you have a conversation with the postman, all of that stuff can come up under the 3rd house. Siblings and relatives as well. So something's occurring here, and the ruler of this Jupiter is now moved into your 10th house of your career. So there could be a realization or a conversation to do with a career opportunity, or a conversation or an idea with Jupiter conjunct Mercury, an idea around what you're building, what you're working towards, your goals for the future, your legacy. Maybe you're having an idea, maybe you're having an aha moment, maybe you're opening your mind and you're thinking outside the box, Sagittarius, around how you want to be seen. Could be that you're switching up your branding. If you run your own business, you're switching up how you're showing up on social media. There's a change on how you're showing up, or there's a change in how you're connecting. So it can be that you're joining a new social media platform, one that really aligns with you, and one that you feel intuitively is better for you in your whatever you're working on. It could be that you're reading something new, you're publishing a blog, or there's an element of reading and writing with the third house. Can be a change in a sibling's or a relative's life that's out in the public. Maybe they are becoming well known, maybe they are getting married or having a baby, or their status is changing, your relative status. It could be that you're getting a new car and you're showing it off on social media. But the square to Saturn is suggesting a tension between you and another person. So it can be a conversation with like a friend, connected to your career or what you're working towards, or maybe a conversation with a business partner, and you're having to kind of compromise or work through something with a partner, having an important conversation with a partner. Do we want this marriage? Do we want this relationship? That kind of stuff can show up, and you're, this is about your mind. A lot of the time it's about what's going on in your mind. So let me know. And now that Saturn and Neptune have gone into your 7th house, Libra, there is an element of either having to compromise with a partnership, or maybe you are committing, maybe you are getting married. But the 3rd house aspect is conversations, and it's how you are thinking about what's going on with either your business or with a relationship in some way. Could be a relationship with a sibling, relationship. Okay, that jumped out. Okay. 2 of fire. Again, fire cards. I love this little giraffe. Okay, 2 of fire. I'm going to read you the positive affirmation. Did I mention everything that I wanted to mention about that? So just to check. So there's something connected to your career, how you're showing up, your legacy, and social media, how you're connecting, how you're communicating, but there's some sort of delay with Saturn and Neptune, some sort of obstacle that you have to work through. So let's go to the 2 of fire. So creative planning for the future, mapping progress, trusting in the unknown, and spirit-inspired ambition. So whenever I can't see how my dreams will coalesce into form, I can trust in the process of co-creation and engage more deeply in the process of envisioning, I never say that word, something new. I've already started to make progress, and soon my passion will attract the perfect situation for me. The light of spirit helps me to see my way and feel the universe aligning to bring me what I need. So that makes perfect sense. It's about, maybe you are creatively brainstorming. Maybe you're writing down your manifestations. This is Sagittarius. This is about having belief. So maybe you're writing and brainstorming actually what it is that you want to create for the future. So that actually aligns really well. So good luck, Libra. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the next video. Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Rising, you are experiencing this full moon in Sagittarius in your 2nd house of your finances. So you're having a realization, or something is changing here about your financial situation, or your possessions, or your self-worth, and what it is that you value. So it can be that you're realizing your values are changing, your values about the world, your beliefs, because the Jupiter that rules this is in your 9th house of your beliefs. So you could be having this real what's actually important to me moment. You could be having a conversation about your finances. You could be spending money on travel. So you could be literally be traveling, or you're spending money on travel, or you're planning a trip and it's going to cost you money. And there's this awareness of, okay, how much is it going to cost me? And with Jupiter conjunct Mercury, you're, having this conversation, maybe with a partner, maybe with a friend, but you're planning on going away somewhere. Could be that you are wanting to spend money on a course, or maybe you're already learning something and you're thinking, oh, is this really worth it? That kind of stuff can be coming up. Now that Jupiter's moved into your ninth house, there's definitely new opportunities for expanding your mind and working on your personal development. And so maybe your values around what's important, again, it could be coming up. Self-worth, maybe you're improving your self-worth. There can definitely be an element of improving your self-worth. Sagittarius is a positive sign. It's a sign of expansion. So actually working on your beliefs, working on your personal development, working on your mental health can definitely be possible. And it's squaring Saturn and Neptune in your sixth, and maybe it's having an effect on your schedules or an effect on your health, but actually really I think this would be a positive effect on your health if that was the case. But maybe you're having to adjust your schedules, or you're having to make time for your own personal development, or if this is financial, then maybe if you're learning something or you're spending money on travel, it's affecting your work, or you're deciding, have I got enough holiday to go away? What's this going to cost me? What holiday have I got? And actually, have I got enough time to go away? And all of that stuff can be coming up. So really, it's pretty financial, but it's also about your values and your self-worth. So some of you could be definitely traveling under this, or you're working on yourself. So I think this is, I still think this is a positive full moon, even with the squares to Saturn and Neptune. And the square to the North Node in your fifth house is kind of testing you around you doing things for yourself. So there's an tension with the square to the North Node, but the whole while you're being encouraged towards focusing on what you do for joy and focusing on yourself. Okay, you guys get the Ten of Air. That's the first air card we've had. Maybe you're worrying about something, or maybe you're letting go of worries. Maybe you're releasing the worries that you've been going through. So graceful endings and hopeful beginnings meet a point of epiphany and an end to old ways of thinking. So that would really make sense if you're working on your self-worth. Okay, so it's all up from here as I bless the ending, grateful for the lessons I have learned that can free me from patterns that no longer serve me. I allow my circumstances to end with grace, as I know something better can appear at any time. I am thankful that from now on I can respond differently to any challenging situation. So something could be ending, something could be changing, but actually you're changing the way that you think. And because of what I said about the mental health stuff, actually maybe you really are working on your self-worth and what is truly aligned for you. So good luck, Scorpio. Let me know what's going on. I'll see you guys in the next one. Sagittarius, this full moon is all about you. So a full moon in the first house. Sorry, I really need a drink. Excuse me. A full moon in the first house is everything to do with you. So it's all aspects of your life. It can show up any which way. The first house is our body. It's our physical appearance. It's our kind of life direction. It's where we're heading. It's our experience of the world. So a full moon here is a realization about who you are. Who am I? Where am I heading? What am I moving towards? The ruler of this is in your eighth house. So you could be going through your own transformation. You could be going through a crisis. But this is more of a positive full moon. So I don't want to say something awful is happening. I'm sure it's not. But it's like the eighth house is our own transformation. So you're realizing something about how you're transforming. You're realizing how your beliefs have changed. Jupiter in the eighth. You're realizing how you need to work on your psychology or your mental health. You're realizing maybe you need to sort your finances. So this could be financial for some of you. It could be that you are investing, spending money, coming into some inheritance. Having a conversation about joint finances in some way is possible. And with the square to Saturn, your fifth, it could involve a romantic partner or a child, and it can feel uncomfortable. But the opportunity is that you are dealing with your finances or sorting something out. And Jupiter is a positive planet. So Jupiter moving through the eighth can actually bring money to you from other people. You can come into large sums of money. This is the house of intimacy. A realization about your intimate connections, a realization about a romantic partner is possible. Changes to that, maybe with Saturn now moving into your fifth, changes to your love life, having to take something more seriously around your love life or your relationships in some way. But something's coming to light. And like I said, a full moon in the first house is very much tied to you. Now, North Node in your 4th house, you're being challenged and moved towards topics of the home and developing inner peace. So there's a challenge around, okay, what do I need to do to develop inner peace? How do I get there? How do I become happy? How do I release and not care about what other people think of me? Or how do I let go of my reputation in order to move towards inner peace? And that can be part of this whole story. It's obviously not always easy when we are dealing with the North Node, because the North Node is our destiny, and actually we can't really change our destiny. It's just our destiny. So you're being encouraged to develop inner peace. And the full moon in Sagittarius, yeah, I still feel like there's a challenge here, but there's something good coming, either financially or with your own personal transformation. The 8th house is like you coming out of a cocoon, transforming. You guys get the 5 of Earth. Interesting, because this is a financial card, and this can speak towards not seeing things clearly about your finances, or thinking you don't have much when actually you have a lot. And maybe that's what the conversations are. The conversation with Mercury in the 8th, maybe you are looking into it and thinking, oh, well, I thought I was owed more money than that. I thought more was going to come back to me. Maybe this square to Saturn is maybe not as much as coming back to you as what you thought, whether this is through investments or inheritance or partner's money or something. If this is financial, can be an element of overlooking your abundance. So 5 of Earth, alternative forms of abundance, the illusion of lack and overlooked treasures. All is not as it seems, so this is a time to look again. A change in perception can bring into focus the results I sought, just in a different form than expected. I'm called to move away from poverty consciousness and open my eyes to treasures before me that are suddenly illuminated. The illusion of wealth gives way to true abundance. There is no need to fear that the rug will be pulled out from under me. What we draw attention to grows. So I count my blessings and I realise I have far more than I thought. I have come far in my quest for building up what I need, and even more opportunities for experiencing abundance await. So it can be that you actually have more money than what you thought. You know, you guys have Capricorn on the 2nd house. So even though Sagittarius can be very overly generous, having Capricorn on the 2nd house, you're going to be a bit more strict with your finances depending on your other placements. And actually you can have this illusion of, I don't have much, I don't have enough, but then actually you've got £20,000 in the savings, and other people are like, dude, that's loads. And it can be a bit like that. So that card is reminding you that actually you probably have more than what you think you have. And also abundance comes in many forms, not just finances. So let me know what's going on for you, Sag, and I'll see you in the next one. Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Rising, you are experiencing this full moon in Sagittarius in the sign of, in your 12th house, in the sign of Sagittarius. So a full moon in the 12th house is highlighting something that's been hidden. The 12th house is the house of hidden things. It's things that we can't see, we can't touch. It's our dreams, it's our illusions, it's how we self-sabotage, it's our limiting beliefs. It is a place where we heal, a place where we meditate, a place where we go to retreat. So a full moon here can be signaling that you are going to a place of retreat, you're going to a place of worship. So maybe you are, especially because, so Jupiter is ruling this, and Jupiter is in your 7th house of one-on-one partnerships. So you could be healing something about a relationship. You could be having a conversation with a partner around things that have needed to be discussed. So now Jupiter's moving into your 7th house. This is bringing new opportunities for abundance within your one-on-one relationships, getting on better with a partner. But it can also be seeing things a bit too positively and a bit too optimistically. But Mercury here is like you're having a conversation with somebody, and it's a conversation about how you need to rest, or a conversation about your mental health, or a conversation about your needs and how you need to nurture yourself. So it could be that you're not feeling great, and so you're having to speak to somebody and say, look, I'm not feeling that great, this is what I need from you, or this is what I need to feel better. And you're realizing what you need around your mental health, or you're realizing you need to heal something. You're realizing your self-worth. or how you can nurture yourself better in some way. You're actually maybe expanding your mind a little bit, or maybe you're wanting to explore, you're wanting to look after your mental health, and you're realizing actually this person is not good for my mental health. For some of you that's possible, or I need to heal this about this person, or it could just be that you're traveling with a partner to a place of solitude or worship. It could be that you're going to church with a partner, you're going to a spiritualist church, you're going to a healing, you're going to do some breath work, you're going to do some sound bathing. Any kind of spiritual energy work shows up in the 12th. You're going to have Reiki with someone, you're getting a new spiritual healer, you're working with somebody one-on-one in order to heal yourself. It can actually be, even like you're having therapy. That could be possible, because Cancer is all about you're nurturing something. So maybe you are nurturing yourself, or you're working with a partner that's going to nurture you. So yes, this can be romantic for some of you, where you and a partner are, maybe you're having a dream about somebody, maybe your subconscious thoughts are changing. But Jupiter in Cancer is positive. But there is a challenge with Jupiter squaring Saturn. So there is an element of something happening within your home, and it's to do with your partner, or something's happening about your emotions. So maybe things that you've kept secret are coming to light. Can be a secret romance is coming to light, or you've been keeping something to yourself, and now you're having to have a conversation with your partner about it, and it's not an easy conversation, and it's about how you feel, or it's about your home, or it's about your living. There's an element of information, wisdom, and healing something, 12th house, around partnerships in some way. All sounds very cryptic, doesn't it? You'll know what this is. And if you're not just traveling to a spa or a retreat, which is for some of you possible, you're going to a spa, you're going to a retreat, you're going to physically going somewhere of solitude, then this is going to be more about the emotional, mental health stuff. And it's connected to a partner, and it's connected to your home or your family and your inner emotions. And that one flew out. Oh my gosh. Oh. I've just realised my microphone light wasn't on. So does that mean that you have not been able to hear me this entire time? Because that will be annoying, but let's just presume it's all fine, guys. Okay, so you get the 7 of air. This is a bit more of a challenging card, I would say. Air cards, are you in your head? What are you overthinking? Oh, that's 7 of fire. That's not 7 of air. Okay, 1 second. So, independence, non-conformity, living life on one's own terms without people pleasing. So now is the time for me to live my life on my own terms, so I must find the courage to reject conformity. Listening to my yearning for independence is key to breaking free of groupthink and attending to my own needs. Diplomacy with others can help me to be true to my call and do what I know I must do for myself. So this is really, I just feel like some of you might be struggling mentally, and you need to speak up. This is asking you to speak up, not people please. Not that you guys do that, but you need to stand up for yourself, and you need to say what you need. You need to say what's best for you. And this is what this conversation in the 7th house is about. You're having to have a conversation with somebody about something that's been going on behind the scenes in your head, something that's been happening, and you're having to speak up. And that's with the square to Saturn. It's not easy, but that's what you have to do in order to be happy. So I don't know if that resonates, Capricorn. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget, if you would like your own personal chart read, I do readings, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. You are experiencing this full moon in Sagittarius in your 11th house. So this is a realization about your goals, or about the groups that you're a part of, or about your friends. So there can be something happening in a friend's life that can show up here. Or you could be realizing something about an organization that you're involved with, or a group that you are a part of. It could be that you are cancelling. So full moons are endings, but they can also be beginnings. So it can be that you're quitting the gym. You're quitting a group that you've been a part of because you're going to somewhere different. Or it could be that you are joining somewhere. So it can be that you're joining a gym because Jupiter's just moved into your 6th house of health. Maybe during this transit, you're going to actually start improving your health, improving your routines. Mercury here is like, okay, I'm going to sign a contract. I'm going to get some information. I'm going to learn about my health, learn about my diet, learn about my physical needs. So it can be that you're joining a group. So it could be that you're joining a gym or you're joining a outdoor fitness group. Something like that could be happening. Or there's a realization about your goals when it comes to your work. It could be your goals around your work are changing, or there's a new opportunity coming to you work-wise, and this is going to help you move towards your goals. The 11th house is what we're moving towards. It's how we're moving. Sorry, I was just checking my microphone is still on. It's how we're moving towards things that we've been working on. We're thinking of the future. So a full moon here can be a realization like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to move towards the future. This is how I want my schedule to look like. That's going to help me move towards my goals. This is the job that I want to be doing. This is, any of those things can show up. With a square to Saturn, there's a challenge. There's a challenge between maybe something in the community or something along with your thoughts, or there's just a delay or something that you need to work through when it comes towards your health, your routines, your work. Something that you're wanting to move towards something, you're wanting to move towards this goal, but you have to adjust something. And with a square to the North Node in the 2nd, this can have something to do with your money. You're being encouraged to make your own money with North Node in the 2nd house. But maybe you have to switch up your job. Maybe you have to change your goals. Maybe your goals for the future have to change in some way in order for you to get towards where you're supposed to be going. Now you've got Pluto in the 1st house. How is everyone doing with Pluto in the 1st house, Aquarius? What is going on? And Saturn in the 3rd house can actually be quite challenging on our mind and our mental health, because you can kind of feel a little bit mentally heavy. So this can affect kind of how you feel about yourself. So you've got to be more disciplined at kind of working on your mental health. So actually maybe you're deciding you need to get into fitness to alleviate any pressures that you have on your mind. That's possible, and therefore you can move towards your goals. You guys do get the 8 of air, another air card. So maybe, Saturn ruled, maybe you are being a bit hard on yourself in some way. Let me find the 8 of air. Release from denial, seeing things as they are, and clarity. With spirit at my side encouraging me, I open my eyes to see things as they really are. To be disillusioned is to be free from the illusions that keep me from the growth and healing I deserve. So I bid goodbye to illusions that have clouded my vision. Honesty gives me strength and courage to face whatever I have to face. I think this can be a bit of a challenging card. The air cards can be a bit challenging. But it is about moving forward. So maybe now you're seeing things clearly, and maybe with the Jupiter shift into your 6th, there's a couple of planetary shifts this month. Venus is moving into the 4th. So maybe you've got a bit of clarity around how to move forward towards your goals. And maybe this full moon is actually bringing you that clarity that you needed. So let me know if that resonates, Aquarius, and I'll see you in the next video. Pisces. Sun, Moon and Rising. You are experiencing this full moon in your 10th house. This is your career, your reputation, how people see you, what you're building. This can also be your parents. So a full moon here, it can be a change. So it can be a change in career, it can be a new career opportunity. It can be a new business opportunity, because Jupiter that rules is moving into your 5th house. So maybe there's a new business idea, or maybe how you're being seen in the world is changing because of your joy and what you are creating. Maybe you're doing a new hobby and it's kind of out in the public. Maybe you're posting on social media. Maybe you're kind of out on social media having fun, and you're being seen more around having fun and nurturing yourself. Now, Jupiter in the 5th house, which I'm excited about for you guys, is gonna bring a baby boom just in general, but Jupiter in the 5th house of children. So you could definitely become a parent during this transit, especially with this full moon in the 10th house being like how you're seen. So maybe you are going to be seen as a parent, or there's some news for some of you, releasing news around pregnancy or your children. Now, the conjunction to Mercury does suggest some sort of conversation. So maybe it's a conversation about becoming a parent, a conversation about how you're moving forwards. And remember, we have got these squares. So there's a challenge here. So it might not be that you're becoming a parent yet. It might be you're having a conversation about how to get there with a doctor or, you know, whatever, with a partner. And the North Node, and you know, this is square, the full moon is squaring the North Node in the first. So your identity is changing, but there are some challenges along the way. It could be a challenge towards money. It can be a challenge towards your values. What else can Jupiter in the fifth bring? This is your love life. So nurturing your romantic partners. If you're single, you could definitely meet someone under this transit. And actually the full moon in the 10th could say, hi, I'm in a relationship. Hi, I'm getting married. Hi, I'm... it's more positive, I would say, than not. I mean, it could be a change. You know, again, Jupiter moving first into a sign can be a bit of a crisis of faith at 0 degrees. So it can be actually right and breaking up with this person with the squares to Saturn. But hopefully for most of you, it's you know, positive. You know, you're going on a date and actually you're putting it out into the world. 10th house is our reputation, our status. So for the most part, it's going to be either you're starting a new business, you're changing careers, or your reputation around how you have fun is changing in some way. Because the 10th house is careers and it can change. Maybe you're changing careers for something that you enjoy. You're putting, you're nurturing your self-expression first, and you're saying to yourself, right, I'm going to change careers. I want a new career because I actually want to do something I enjoy. And that can be the fifth house piece. New job opportunity, you can get kind of promoted. Maybe you get a promotion and actually then that brings you more satisfaction and joy in your career. Yeah, something like that's happening for you out in the world. Your public image is changing. Can just be that you're very busy also at work at this time, but with Jupiter in the fifth house conjunct Mercury, there's an element of like enjoyment or being in the limelight in some way. Oh, you guys get the High Priestess. Okay, very feminine energy. This could represent a female. Number 2, mystery. Some things are not meant to be known intellectually, but are meant to be experienced through intuition. This card reminds me to trust that I have access to higher wisdom, and that knowing when I tune in and trust my vibes, this is the time when mysteries will be revealed and I can grow as a result. So you guys are obviously very, very intuitive, one of the most intuitive signs. So whatever's going on for you, it's kind of encouraging you to tap into your intuition. If you've got a new job opportunity, for example, just really, really tune into your intuition and see if it feels right. It doesn't necessarily have to be a change straight away. Don't necessarily just say yes to everything. Make sure that you're really tuning in and feeling whether it's right for you. So that's the end of the video. Don't forget to do personal readings if you like your birth chart read. I hope you got some value from that, guys. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, drop a comment, let me know how this is resonating. And I shall see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you a happy full moon and I will see you soon. Bye.